someone who presides over legal court proceedings and meets different kinds of people proving to be innocent, it's easy for them to lose control of things and let their emotions get the better part of them. If you've never seen a judge lose it, then today is your lucky day, as we're going to list for you 10 times judges have lost control during their proceedings. Watch out for Judge Judy. The number of times she's lost it is countless. Here are 10 times the judge lost control. Number 10. Judge Jerri Collins. This is just heartbreaking to watch. Maybe being a judge means that you should keep your emotional sense aside, but this just went a bit far. In the video, Judge Jerri Collins is seen to ignore a plea of a domestic violence victim, saying that she had sends her to jail. The victim was supposed to appear for the trial of her abuser, but didn't. She apologized and gave reasons for her absence, which were pretty understandable and legit to every other person except Judge Collins. She instead used sarcasm and inflammatory language against the woman. She cited depression, anxiety, and a need to move on and never be in contact with her abuser being the reason why she never appeared for trial. Apart from ignoring her, she raised her voice and spoke harshly to the victim, interrupting her at every chance she got. People weren't pleased with how she handled things. She'd violated the state's code of judicial conduct. When the Chief Justice of Florida heard about it, she was reprimanded. The judge kind of deserved that, don't you think? Number 9. Up next is Judge Rinder. See how he loses it and then gets back in control. From this video, we can tell that Judge Rinder does not love domestic violence. An experience of his own, maybe? Well, that's not our concern from now. What gets Judge Rinder to burst out was when the defendant gets confrontational and said he got it wrong. Judge Rinder seems not to like the idea of being wrong or even being accused that he's wrong. He shouts that he didn't get anything wrong, he was just asking questions. He goes on talking to the defendant in anger while proving his point. He doesn't hide how angry he is that the defendant laid hands on his wife. He manages to keep his cool and do his job. When you're a judge, you'll never know what you'll be up to when you go to court. There's so many crazy things happening in court. This woman shocked everyone when she appeared in court with no pants. Number 8. Judge Amber Wolf. Judge Amber Wolf was outraged when the defendant's attorney told her that the woman was denied pants and feminine hygiene products upon being in jail. Judge Amber couldn't believe it and called the jail administrators and berated them, wondering what was happening. The courtroom footage showed the woman was wearing a gray University of Louisville t-shirt and a pair of what seemed like athletic shorts. She could be seen pulling the t-shirt down every time to try and make it longer. The judge was angry at the administrators and told them on the phone that she won't release the woman in the courtroom until she had pants on. Meanwhile, she asked if anyone inside the courtroom had anything to give her, even if it was to cover her up. Judge Amber felt sorry for how the woman was treated and released the woman with a $100 fine and time served. Ever had that discussion in class about a certain book you were reading, then two students start arguing about the book, but the argument just goes south, and it happens that they're not talking about the book anymore? Well, this is how things happen with Judge Hurley. Number 7. Judge John Hurley. Judge Hurley lashed out at a lawyer who was defending a homeless man. Hurley had imposed a $1,000 bond on the homeless man who was facing a FLACA possession charge. This drew an objection from the defender, as the homeless man was about to be released without bond, but on being told he was homeless, he gave out the order of a $1,000 bond. The lawyer argued with Judge Hurley that being homeless shouldn't impede being released. Judge Hurley wasn't pleased with the argument and declined to reconsider the decision, calling the lawyer unprofessional. It was clear that the two had bad blood since the whole conversation changed from the homeless man to other things. Number 6. Judge Frederick Schott. Judge Frederick Schott made the headlines on TV when he reversed a jury's guilty verdict and declared the defendant not guilty. Though a judge has the authority to overrule the jury's verdict, it's said to be rare, and at least not in the way Schott did, which was spontaneous. During a heated argument, the judge let his emotions take the better part of him and ruled unprofessionally. The case was of a woman whose driving license was suspended because she was found by a police officer sipping from a can of natural ice beer while driving. Without checking her breath alcohol test, they took her to the Seminole County Jail. Schott got mad with the story and demanded the police officer who arrested the woman be charged with perjury. He then said he found the whole case fishy and thus granted the JOA, which is a reference to a judgment being found not guilty. Number 5. Judge Marilyn Million. Judge Marilyn didn't like this guy from the word go. The way they hit each other with facts, whoosh. If that was me, I would have lost the kickback punchline and lost. But not Marilyn. She loses it in this episode of The People's Judge. The yuppie landlord was being a jerk in her courtroom, leaving Judge Marilyn no choice but to lash at him. When Marilyn sweetly addresses him as honey, he immediately tells her that she should call him doctor and not honey. This pisses Marilyn off, and he tells him that from her place, one has to earn the title. What the landlord answers back doesn't cool things even a bit. Marilyn tries to hold herself together, but when he threatens her is when all hell breaks loose. She throws him out of her courtroom. Sometimes losing it doesn't mean being angry. Sometimes the stories in court might be too emotional, even for the judge. Judge Maybelline shocked everyone when she cried in her courtroom. She even got out of her chair and hugged the two defendants. Number 4. Judge Maybelline. It seems that this courtroom was too emotional. We can all agree that family matters can be overwhelming. This niece brings her guardian, who is her aunt, to court for credit card issues, which is a story for another day. Judge Maybelline finds herself giving family advice to the two people. She tells the young girl that one should never bite the hand of the person who feeds her. She also gives the aunt some piece of advice and affirms that the two were wrong. She gives them some time to apologize to each other. They apologize to each other heartily as they cry. She tells them to hug, and they both get out from where they're standing and hug each other. Judge Maybelline also stands and joins in the hug. She must have felt amazing reuniting the two. Number 3. Judge Jorge Rodriguez. This is what happens when you piss off a judge. Judges have the power to make your life easy and also miserable depending on how you treat them in the courtroom. I don't know about you, but I think the judge went a little bit too far with this judgment. I mean, he would have just laid it low since it was clear that the lady wasn't in her right state of mind, even though she claimed that she hadn't taken any kind of drug in the past 24 hours. But no, Judge Rodriguez just had to show who had the say in that courtroom. He gave her a bail of $5,000 and told her to go. The girl sassily told him, adios. It seems he didn't like that word because he had her return and set the bail to $10,000, which came as a shock to her and everyone. Annoyed, she showed her finger to the judge and used the F word on him. The judge became angry and sentenced her to 30 days in jail and a bail of $10,000. Luckily, she didn't stay that long as she went back to the judge and gave him an apology, claiming it was the effect of Xanax and alcohol. Now she knows who is the boss. Lesson to all, never use the F word on a judge. And with that, it's now time for today's best pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. So if you come across a photo online and you want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it in our future videos. Number 2. Judge Judy. When it comes to losing it, Judge Judy is an expert, as she's lost it more than enough times. It's even more like a habit now. She's called people morons, shouted at them, and sometimes even kicked them out of her courtroom. This photo shows her in one of her losing it moments where she's saying the word loser in sign language, though it didn't look offensive as she made it seem like a joke. When it comes to Judge Judy, you never know what she'll say or do next. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. And number 1, Judge John Mukebane. Let's sum up our list with the most dramatic meltdown you've ever seen from a judge. Judge John Mukebane didn't sit well with the fact that this woman didn't have any remorse at all for stabbing her boyfriend mercilessly to death. During the hearing, the judge was pissed when he saw the murderer, Marcel Hill, roll her eyes and snicker while the victim's aunt spoke to court. He hushed her by threatening to duct tape her mouth. She didn't listen, and he could see no feeling of remorse from her. That's when he lost it and yelled at how relentless she was for stabbing her boyfriend 11 times till he was lifeless. He announced that if it was in self-defense as she'd claimed, she would have stopped stabbing the second time. Lastly, the judge shouted that he hopes she dies in prison and sentenced her to life in prison. Ouch.